the final tactics for everybody. The main tempo that Wesley, who knows how far in advance he saw it, but the main key is that right here, f6 was not possible with a knight check, sacrificing itself, and these two pawns would be too many for the knight and king to deal with. A really good example of why the knight is a bit of a donkey when it comes to stopping past pawns. So, wow. Well, Maurice, this is...
Don't diss the knight, by the way. If that was a bishop, it would be the same deal, basically.
True, actually, that's a good point. That's a good point. Those pawns were too much no matter what. But this is, this is why the stats predicted Wesley to be a huge favorite. So we know this is going to be a tough match. Nodirbek just needs to get on the board. Needs to kind of right now maybe stop the bleeding, get on the board, convince himself he can win some games before this gets away from him.
I don't like the way those end games are working against him. I really don't. I've seen 2 games now where, like I said, I remember when Walter Shipman, great Walter Shipman was alive, and Walter was maybe like 65, 70. He might have been 85, 90.
I played Walter many times, so he was around for a long time.
I mean, he would school us. You want some sharp position? Walter would play the most boring opening that just traded queens and say, okay, young whippersnapper, let me take you into the end game and see what you knew. And boy, he gave me some lessons. It was ridiculous.
Whoa.
But he's got to be sharp. And look at this. He's decided he doesn't want to see those thinking end games. He's sack material. He wants it sharp. He needs sharp play so that his natural abilities can really shine. Now, is this any good? He's threatening bishop c2 and also knight c2 with check. The issue that he must have calculated was the move bishop to d2.
Yeah.
But it seems as though bishop c2 still works.
Yeah, this is going to get wild here. What is is it, let's analyze it. Is it like bishop d2, bishop c2? No, bishop c2 is just good. So bishop d2
yeah, bishop
can't be the
c2
move.
works. So if I'm white, I want to get out of dodge.
Maybe.
I don't see, knight c3 looks great. Actually, knight c3 is playable.
If you back up and walk into knight c2, do you have king d2? Is that the key?
That was my plan to get, now you have to take my rook and then I go. But do you have knight d3 if I do that? That's my main
That could be
point.
Interesting, and you're taking...
Actually, no, I still have king d2. I don't take. I don't take because you take, but I still have king d2.
One funny idea for white, too, is I wonder if you could castle, if Wesley's thinking about it, but based on this move, are there some weird things like bishop d2 now where queen a3 is coming, and it's hard to unwind this whole thing?
No, but you're right. You're right. But my only problem is actually the move a3, because my queen is not really a problem.
Yeah, and if you move the queen,
I don't trust this position. No, I play queen b5 here. I play, queen b5. I thought rook b1, rook b1, a5, a3, bishop b3. This is what I thought.
Right, something like this.
Bishop b3, except rook takes on b3.
Oh, rook takes b3. There you go. Yeah, the eval bar.
Get some coffee. So that line does actually not work. And it looks as though Wesley has played, has he moved? It looks like the live board, knight c3, and he's played this way, knight c3, which was instinctively the best looking line, but it looks like black got 2 pawns for the wait, what are we counting?
Yeah, black has 2 pawns and a rook.
Oh man, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I'm liking black. If black plays, I'm surprised he didn't play b5 immediately. But if he gets in b5 and b4, see you tomorrow.
Yep. So this will be.
This is how you got to play if you're going to beat Wesley. So
interesting for Wesley to prove this one. Note that he played. If we backed up to the opening on the analysis board here, we've got he played a different variation himself, meaning he didn't go for the same line he did in game 1, Maurice, which was knight d2 on move 4. We know that's a very popular mover. So Wesley, despite getting the win in game 1, was the guy that varied in this one. So that's interesting, and I wonder if, some of the other times we see in these matches, because they're going to get so many games against each other, in the early stages, you're just kind of poking and prodding. Make sure you check all the lines, see if you find any weaknesses in the other guy's approach. But I don't know that Wesley's going to go back to this one.
One thing that concerns me for what Black did is Black didn't get his chance to play the move b5. And I'm very concerned because that tempo he wasted with knight to e7 earlier may have cost him. Was there a problem, Danny, with the move? And now he's just...
Let's bring it back up. No, you're right, because if Wesley can get away with this, it was back here where Maurice's idea of b5 was probably needed. I think you're right. And, Maybe he.
I mean, at least that's what you're aiming for. You get the move in. If nothing's stopping you, why don't you play it? I want to play b4 eventually, but at least I have the pawn on b5. I need to play a6. This looks good.
Sometimes I guess at the end of a tactical line, he was getting nervous, or I don't know. But if Wesley can get away with what he's doing here, then say goodbye to Black's advantage.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, now I'm not happy at all because what am I supposed to do now? It's Black. I think he let Wesley off the hook by not playing hyper aggressively with b5. Hyper aggressive is not the word. Thematic is the word. b5 was thematic, but Black was down so much development that he decided he needed to play the move knight e7. That's what it was. He was down in development. He said, I got to play knight e7 to get my pieces out. And that gave Wesley the tempo he needed. And now he's stolen the b pawn. You know, I'd be crying tears if they took my b pawn. Like tears.
Yeah, this is if this doesn't go his way after the edge he had in the opening, that's not a good sign. Nodirbek, you spent the whole part of the first part of this game highlighting no more endgames against Wesley. Get some tactics, right? And now
exactly. Now we got an endgame.
It didn't seem to happen.
Now we need endgame phase. You need good maneuvers. Black would love to play queen b2, queen a1. If you may show me some arrows, Danny. Show me some love. Queen b2, queen a1, and swing the queen over to harass the pawns on that side. The problem, I was going to say, is White's queen is on the board as well. And White can say to your rook,
oh, man.
Hello. And now, please don't tell me he's losing after king c1.
I was just going to say, this is
this is going to be terrible.
Wanted.
This is exactly awful. This is
funny how you and I both highlight this. I don't know if this is the best move. This is the best human move our brain goes to. Okay, but look at that. Maybe even better way to guard this because you have c3 for the king. But the whole point, everybody, is the moment you get this endgame, if the rook can't flex and quickly against the minors, you're almost always just going to be outplayed and squeezed. As soon as the knight starts coming in, you close the b file. So look at Wesley. Oh, wow. e4. Okay. Getting really aggressive.
Wow. What an interesting plan that is. You know, I'm going to say, I'm not going to criticize Wesley. So he's getting his position on, and he's got a great position. Forget that. I'm not even going to worry about it. This looks very good for him in this position. The bishop and the knight are bosses. That pawn on c4 looks like history. But that said, sooner or later, Wesley's going to have to pick off that a pawn. And that's why I wanted to put a bishop on b5. So the idea of playing king c1 and then bishop a4, bishop b5 earlier, play a4, and then you do whatever you like.
Yeah, let's back up, because I agree with you. And I think even if Wesley ends up winning, for the fans who watch these shows to learn too, I agree that that's like the technical instructive thing to do. The Walter Shipman thing. Block the b file, support the bishop with a4, and then relocate the knight.
And then you just do what you want. Then you go for e4 even in that position, and it's all just everything is you. Right now, Black is looking for his counterplay as much as he can here. Bring the king. The problem is that c-pawn is going to drop, and
he's going to try to flip.
And now he's going to try to flex on the other side, but oops, White has two pieces, people. White has two pieces and can stop you, and your rook is getting zero activity. Boy, that rook is close to being trapped. It looks like a kind of a puzzle that rook is very close. Now he has to play rook a1 and get the heck out of the dodge. But knight b3 and knight a5 is coming. Yep. Oh, boy.
Or even knight b either way, and knight b3 could block the pawn. But, yeah, no, the whole point is a4, and then the a pawn falls, and I think Wesley – oh, man, I think Wesley's about to get his third win in a row here.
Bishop e4 is coming, guarding that. H3, you have no counterplay on that side. I could put bishop anywhere. And now knight b3 is back in business, or knight b7, as you mentioned. Now we're seeing endgame slaughter.
Yeah.
He is taking him into what he is a knight b7 check. Thank you. Give me. Oh, no, he doesn't.
He's going to maybe gain a tempo first and then knight b7. There he goes.
He has to hit the rook first. That's right. He has to get the rook out of there. And does he even? I would not play. I play h3, old school Walter Shipman style.
I love it.
And then
Walter Shipman needs to become a meme around here. We should get a Walter Shipman emote for your channel. By the way, for those of you who aren't following Grandmaster Maurice Ashley's Twitch channel, that is a you problem. If you didn't know he was streaming, if one of our mods can throw a link in the chat, we'll be mentioning that throughout the day. But Walter Shipman style, I like that. I would normally say like Karpov, but now it's Shipman. Shipman's the new endgame boa constrictor.
Listen, Karpov could beat you multiple ways. Okay, Karpov was the world champion. Karpov didn't need to forcibly take you to an endgame. because he could positional chess you. He could spank you with an attack if you didn't do the right thing. And he could also, of course, show his endgame style, Capablanca, Rubinstein, Karpov. But Shipman, there was only one thing Walter wanted to do, is take you into that endgame, baby, and make it slow. Take it slow, make it slow, and punish you. This position, though, I mean, this is truly a technical type study position, because the pawn on A5 cannot move. This is the kind of one where, I create puzzles, Danny. I don't know if you know, but I like to create puzzles, and I like these unique, weird constructions to see how you can possibly win. And this is starting to feel like a puzzle where white has to play super accurately to get the progress that he needs. And it's very hard to get this pawn to go one more step. This pawn on A5 to go one more step. And I don't know why he didn't play it. Now he's hitting the bishop. I don't like the rook on C3, by the way. I just don't.
Because it's going to have to go to A3, right?
Exactly. I want the rook to be able to go behind this pawn. So I would have gone to C1, if anything. C1, so I can check that rook, like check the king, excuse me. And now you're starting to get a little bit on the edge, if you are white, of being able to win this position. But the pawn on F4 is creating counterplay. When we talk about Walter Shipman, the H3 move, he should have played H3. It would have been easier. He wouldn't have dropped this pawn on H3. It would have taken some time. The pawn on H2 would have taken some time, but he has now have to figure it out, does Wesley. And Wesley with only 38 seconds.
Ooh. Was knight D2 a move there? I wonder if it would have cut the... Anyway, okay.
And here we go. Get behind the... I mean, this is too much. Too much play for Black. Black is showing that he's stopping the pawn from going anywhere. And you cannot win the F pawn. If this is winning, this deserves to be a study. This is one of those that's like, what is actually happening here? I'm not sure you can you take the E's? Can you take
this is an interesting point. He's going for a second weakness, principle of two weaknesses. And the main thing is it comes down to the clock. Oh,
this is the problem. He's got to blunder the... No, it's over. Now it's over. It's over now. Look at him. He's frustrated. He's frustrated. He was holding up in the defense, and then he missed that idea. He put his king on the wrong square. Now it's absolutely over. He's just going to push the D pawn, and that pawn is just going to start riding home. That's it.
He defended valiantly, but again, I guess that's why the game is played, as they say. If it was just a science, maybe the rook had held there, but with the time, not enough on the clock for Nodirbek to do it, and he's going to lose his third in a row. That was definitely instructive. We'll go back to that position where I think Wesley should have played H3 for the viewers, just to learn from Walter Shipman, be patient, but ultimately, again, Wesley, he's flexing today. This could get rough.
There it is. That when you see this unit come together, you know it's over. This is just, look at those pieces, just shielding the king, and it's time to shepherd the pawn home, and this is all she wrote. That's Johnny ball game. Pieces are well connected. He could have played bishop A6 on that last move as well, but no need. Many things win there. A shame. 3 endgames. He's blown 3 endgames. And
we'll go back and show that position where probably white should have played H3 all the way back here. But because for those of you, you may not always be able to win like Wesley, so it might be advisable that you take your time, be patient with counterplay, because now what exactly could Black have done here? Maurice was totally right. How do you deal with this idea? And
patience.
Yeah. Okay.
Patience is a weapon in chess. Patience is a weapon, not just a virtue, a weapon. And especially in the end game, H3 would have made Wesley's life a lot easier. I'm very surprised he didn't play it. I'm really surprised. Wesley didn't just chill and play that move.
The win, and we do get a scotch, Maurice, as I predicted. Sorry, let's go back to the analysis board here, because I was wondering when Nodirbek would do it. He's been known for this sort of different variations of some of the scotches. Not everyone plays the scotch